bizarre story in Saskatchewan has stunned that province.
Car 36 responding.
The body was found in the garage of Wilson's fashionable Regina home last night around supper time.
Had a number of people in as witnesses, but no actual suspects.
Until this week, Colin Thatcher had been Saskatchewan's Minister of Energy, but he suddenly resigned from the cabinet. Tonight, they're looking for her killer. It's one of the most sensational murder cases Saskatchewan has ever seen.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Canadian Politics is Murder. Usually Canadian Politics is Boring. This is our part 2 of our limited series called Canadian Politics is Murder about Colin Thatcher.
Yeah.
Canadian politician.
If this is your first episode, we encourage you to go and listen to the first episode last week or whenever the last one was put out. I don't know what our release schedule is for this. So spoilers, if you haven't heard the first episode, you might want to go do that.
So, if spoiler now, and we're going to carry on with the story.
I realized,
in 5.
Hold on. Go ahead. Countdown.
4.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
1.
Okay. Hold on. I didn't do this last episode. A little ASMR for all you viewers out there, listeners.
There we go. He did it. Great. I love watching him do that. It's one of my favorite things.
He really does watch.
So
He doesn't have to.
so he maintains eye contact uncomfortably. So May the 17th, 1981, JoAnn Wilson.
We're just diving right in?
Going to dive straight in.
Oh, because you've booked the studio and you've got a time.
We have got a time limit on this. So JoAnn Wilson, formerly JoAnn.
Do you want to do a quick recap for everyone who has listened to the last episode?
No, if you didn't listen to the last episode, you need to.
Yeah, but like,
okay,
maybe didn't listen to it 5 minutes ago.
Shitty politician, abusive to his wife. Poor abusive wife wants to restart her life. Messy custody battle with the kids. He kidnaps his own child. The police can't find it, even though, and he won't let them know. Won't find him, even though it's not a dog. Can't find the kid, even though he knows where he is clearly. And then on May the 17th, 1981, JoAnn, his wife, who is a victim of domestic violence and abuse, and also kidnap, is now shot.
Dun dun dun.
So the storyline here is the news.
Man, last episode, you asked me. You said we'll keep it a secret as to whether or not she died from this gunshot. You wouldn't tell me where she was shot either. So, all right, I'm all ears.
So, JoAnn Wilson has been shot, and the police are looking for a young man who was seen fleeing near the Lakeview residence. Wilson, 41, was shot just after 10 p.m. while in her home. Police believe the gunman was standing outside a glass patio door of the kitchen. She was in stable condition in Regina General Hospital after doctors removed a small caliber bullet from her shoulder. Police are looking for a man in his 20s, about 5 feet 11 inches tall, medium build with dark hair above the collar and wearing a waist-length, light-coloured summer jacket. Witnesses say the man ran down 20th Avenue and got into a rust-coloured car.
So, I had a theory that in the first episode, I didn't say it, but it just dawned on me that maybe the murderer that we're talking about in this series was not Colin Thatcher, but it was one of his sons. Because this is...
No, that's not his son's only 15.
Wasn't there an older child, though?
Yeah, 15-year-old child.
I thought there was like a 19, 20-year-old by this point.
He will be at some point in the future, but at this stage...
No, I thought at this point there was like a 19, 20-year-old and like a 15-year-old and a 10-year-old or whatever.
He's still 15. He's still into like Ninja Turtles and stuff.
All right. So it wasn't Colin and it wasn't one of his kids.
So a high-powered rifle basically passed through a triple-glazed window and hit her in the shoulder.
Jesus.
She was hospitalized for 3 weeks and nobody was ever charged.
3 weeks?
I know. She's pretty tough to get over that in 3 weeks.
Oh, fuck. Maybe I don't know how long it takes to get over
a bullet wound in the shoulder from a high-powered rifle through a 3-pane glass window.
Well, okay, hold on. It'll take you months.
Just walk it off.
No, well, it'll take you months to heal from that. But like, hospitalized for 3 weeks? That sounds a
You
bit.
have arteries in your shoulder. You can shatter bones from a bullet wound. The exit wound itself
but,
is like...
okay, when you get a bullet wound, right? You go in, they check, right? They're like, is she gonna die? No, yes, we fix it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
You've watched too many films.
I have watched too many films.
Yeah. Oh, it'll just heat this knife up and just flick it out and then sew it up with a normal sewing kit. You're fine.
No, but I guess what I'm saying is like, I find it hard to believe that she had to be monitored for 3 fucking weeks for a
Maybe
shoulder
she was doing
shot.
physio. I don't know. I'm not a bullet wound doctor, and neither are you. So your dream job, I could have been.
Fine. Whatever. I have one job in this show, Reese, and that's to question everything you say, okay?
So eventually what happened, meanwhile, JoAnn is dealing with her bullet, overcoming this traumatic assassination attempt.
Traumatic.
So meanwhile, Regan Thatcher, who is now 12, is still missing. But eventually what happens is that she's so shaken by what's happened, she gives up the custody battle. And then they give Colin Thatcher custody of Regan, even though he kidnapped Regan and has hidden him from the police and the court.
Are they doing this to kind of hope that Regan will just appear?
Well, she decides that she needs to give up this custody battle so that his dad can take Regan out of hiding, so that at least he can have more of a normal life.
Right, because everyone knew that his dad had Regan.
Yes.
They just couldn't prove it.
Yeah. I mean, they could have just arrested his dad.
Why didn't they?
I don't know. It's really messy.
70s are weird. Or this is the 80s.
I mean, he was a prominent politician at the time. So.
Oh, yeah, right.
So
he's still a politician.
So she said she's been personally terrorized and she wanted to abandon.
Was he still premier of Saskatchewan?
No, he wasn't. That was his dad. He was a senior. He was an energy minister for a while.
I thought he was getting into politics.
He was in politics now. He was successfully elected at this stage.
Oh, hold on, wait. What was he?
He was elected an
energy minister.
Energy minister in Saskatchewan. So he was elected to the legislature in Saskatchewan. He wasn't like an MP in Ottawa. He was like a provincial politician.
Okay.
So she basically said her car tires have been slashed, sugar's been put into her gas tank. Nobody does that anymore. And she received telephone calls with no one on the other end. So she said she was
the worst offense of them all.
I know. So he now has 2 of the 3 children. The 2 boys. She still has the girl. She survived a gunshot wound. He's still a politician, and she's kind of trying to move on, rebuild her life now. She's been through this traumatic experience. Colin Thatcher, on January the 29th, 1982, purchases a Magnum handgun from Frontier Gun Shop in Palm Springs, California.
Well, did they ever find out who shot her?
No, they never found out. No.
Still to this day.
They're still unsolved.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Right.
He also purchased a holster for the weapon and 2 boxes of silver-tipped hollow point bullets.
Silver-tipped?
He's fancy.
Werewolves?
He's fancy. So shortly after he buys the gun, Grant Devine, dubbed the Invisible Man by his opponents, led the progressive conservative party.
Hold on. You're just going to gloss over that?
The Invisible, I think it's because he didn't appear much on the campaign trail.
Because nobody knows who the fuck he is.
Exactly. But basically, he led the the progressive conservative party to the largest election victory in Saskatchewan history, and essentially, Colin Thatcher was basically invited to serve in the government as a minister from this. Meanwhile, also all this stuff was going on. So at this time, he was now officially the energy minister in 1982.
I don't know what that means, but I mean,
the Minister of Energy. He was in charge of energy in Saskatchewan.
That was going to be my guess, but I've just never.
Unlimited power. So anyway,
are you picturing him like Palpatine?
Yeah, exactly. So Colin, in this time, he was now in a high-paying political position. He had a new girlfriend called Lynn. And Lynn is rushed to the hospital in Moose Jaw after an apparent suicide attempt. She took 292 headache pills.
Holy fuck.
And said the attempt was brought on by depression after a physical beating by Colin Thatcher.
Hold on. How do they know it was 292?
Because I imagine they pumped them out of her stomach.
And then counted them.
Yeah.
Jesus. All right.
And the fight began
Why did they count them?
when Colin Thatcher.
That's weird, though, isn't it?
Well, the fight began
like
because
either she counted them.
Is that the thing that sticks out to you? Not that a woman was driven to suicide by a beating from a prominent politician, and he got away with it.
No, it's about the numbers of pills. That's the
I'm
weird
glad
part.
that I love the depth of empathy you have.
That's just weird, though, right?
I guess so.
Like someone counted them. Either she counted them, right, which is weird, or someone's job at the hospital was to count them. It's like, that's weird.
Well, no, I don't know. I'm
that weird?
It doesn't say. It doesn't say. I don't think we'll ever find out.
Right.
So basically, the argument began because his girlfriend
took 292 headache pills.
Thatcher told his girlfriend he was never going to marry her, and then they had an argument, and that's why he beat her.
Jesus.
So with everything that was going on in Thatcher's life, though,
he kept his job. Like, he wasn't fired.
No, but eventually he resigned. He wasn't fired.
He was forced to resign, I bet.
Yeah, so he was kind of put in a position where he had to. So this is how it was explained. In an unexpected move, Premier Grant Devine announced this morning he'd accepted the immediate resignation from Cabinet Minister Colin Thatcher from the cabinet for the position of Energy and Mines Minister. Devine said Thatcher was resigning for family and financial reasons, but informed sources have indicated the Premier asked the Energy Minister to resign. So it was very much a thing that, yeah. So 4 days later, JoAnn was found bludgeoned and shot to death in her garage in her Regina home.
Okay, something doesn't add up here. It's the first time it was a man in their 20s, which doesn't describe any of their children or describe Colin Thatcher the first time she was shot. The next time she was bludgeoned to death this time? Is that what you said?
Bludgeoned and shot to death.
Oh, Jesus. Bludgeoned and shot to death.
Yes.
That's horrible. That is truly horrible. But as far as the murder mystery goes, like, as far as I could tell, he didn't really have any dealings with her. Like, he had 2 of his 3 children. It didn't sound like he was really fighting that hard for the 3rd. But from everything he told me,
you can tell that he's fucking like,
he's nuts.
But like, he's a very violent, angry. So he had his dream political job. He was maybe hoping to be premier like his dad one day.
So you think he might have just taken it out on her?
So he got 4 days later. I mean, maybe he was just in a headspace of being like.
I suppose.
Do you want me to tell you some details about what happened?
I mean, I guess.
So
I'm a bit queasy. I don't like. I don't like blood.
So just before this happened, a blue Oldsmobile was seen kind of parking outside her home and making JoAnn making people on the street nervous. So somebody called JoAnn was a housekeeper working near the Wilson residence. She sees a bearded man in a dark coat with a dark toque sitting scrunched underneath the steering wheel. Came back the next day and the bearded man appeared slouched behind the steering wheel. She memorized the last 3 numbers of the license plate, 292. She could not see the letters because they were obscured by mud. Somebody else at another house also noticed the car and said the man appeared to be bearded, olive-skinned, or well-tanned and reasonably good-looking.
I'm gonna say there's a twist to the story and that Colin Thatcher is not the murderer.
Well, you have to find out.
That's my guess. I think there's going to be a twist. Speaking of twists, have you seen the Crowded Room yet on Apple TV?
No.
No?
No.
Spoilers. Maybe spoilers. I don't fucking know. I don't know. But it's with Tom Holland. And he's fantastic, right? He's just fantastic. And I think in the 2nd episode, it dawned on me, like, oh, he's got extreme multiple personalities, and every single person that he's interacted with so far that is close to him is completely made up and imaginative. And I'm sticking to this theory. I don't think I was supposed to clue in that early on, but I'm kind of proud of myself that I did. So I don't know.
She just ruined that show for a bunch of people.
I said spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
And that's only if my theory is correct. I don't know. I haven't seen it all the way through yet. So that's the twist for the crowded room. And plus the title, The Crowded Room. Come on.
Yeah, it's his head.
It's his head, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's my guess for this is that Colin Thatcher is not the murderer. I think it's someone else. And I don't think you've mentioned them yet. Which is weird. You should. If this is a murder mystery with a twist, you have to have mentioned who the murderer is.
I didn't say it was a murder mystery. I said it was true crime.
Well, yeah,
true crime is crime.
But if there's a
true
twist,
crime is brutal. It's not like this elegant.
No, but if there's a twist, which I guarantee there is.
My name is Hector Poirot.
You need to follow the rules of a murder mystery, which means that.
But it's not.
It
wasn't the butler in this case.
There's going to be a twist. I know there is.
So that person was spotted in the Oldsmobile, and they wrote it down.
Did Colin have a beard?
I don't know, but so police say
Colin good looking with olive skin.
So police say the assailant was probably waiting in her garage when she arrived home from work at 6 o'clock. And then what happened was, walking home after work shortly after 6 p.m., somebody called Craig Dotson, who ironically was a research officer for the NDP opposition party.
Okay.
Just by total chance, a politician, someone involved in politics, was also there. Here's what he thinks are screams. They seem to be coming from the Wilson garage. So JoAnn remarried, so Wilson is her new last name. Her name's JoAnn. So JoAnn.
Okay.
They became more shrill, and then there's a crack, and they stop. Dotson heads for the Wilson garage, but on the way, he catches a glimpse of a man walking away. The man is bearded, has slim build, and is wearing a waist-length coat. One hand is buried under the coat, as if concealing something. Dotson enters the garage and sees a woman lying in a pool of blood. He heads back to the back alley where he saw the man, but the man has vanished. He rushes to the neighbors, but no one's home. Dotson goes to the back door of the Wilson house. He alerts the housekeeper, who stirs Toni Wilson out of bed after she has viewed the scene in the garage. Wilson, clad in only a bathrobe, rushes down to the garage where he sees his wife lying on the cold concrete floor. Police are summoned by telephone.
Jesus. Hold on. Sorry, who saw? I kind of blanked out of the last part.
So her new husband and the housekeeper were in the house.
Oh, the new husband. Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
And they come down and they find that this has happened.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of one of those. So you think about like the fact that like this has now happened, but again, the description doesn't match Colin Thatcher.
It doesn't call, and not only that, but the motivation.
Exactly.
There's really very little motivation other than throwing a temper tantrum and taking it out on someone, like, and that's rarely. And like he brought a gun, so that's premeditative.
But then a day after the murder, Stephanie Wilson, who was the youngest kid of the three,
the daughter,
was forcibly removed from a friend's home in Regina by her father, Colin Thatcher.
Interesting.
So the day after his ex-wife gets shot, he turns up at the house to remove the last child.
That's very interesting.
The child was later discovered in a home in Moose Jaw, which police would not identify for whatever reason. The owner of the home where she was, the owner of the Regina home from which Stephanie was abducted, a friend of JoAnn, said the incident began before 1 p.m. when Thatcher and lawyer Tony Merchant entered the home and invited the two men and another woman, asked to see Stephanie, but the owner said they would not have to get approval from the Wilsons first. Thatcher and some of his companions then pushed past her. The woman said she eventually got into the bedroom and took Steph in her arms. The child was screaming, "No, Daddy, please, Daddy, let me go." Thatcher and a young man who identified himself as Stephanie's brother took the girl from the woman's arms and left. So the older boy, who is now 18, essentially helped abduct his little sister with his dad.
Wow.
And then for JoAnn's funeral, 9-year-old daughter Stephanie attends, but sons Greg, 18, Regan, 14, and former husband don't turn up.
Wow.
On January the 25th, a $50,000 reward was offered for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person or persons responsible for JoAnn's murder. And essentially, the kind of like there's a call out, but a lot of loose ends and not a lot of leads. However, February the 2nd, a blue Oldsmobile with the 292 digits, which fits the description of the car that was spotted before the murder, lurking outside the house.
Which house?
JoAnn's house.
Okay.
Basically was identified, and it was actually a government car.
All right.
From the Central Vehicle Agency. So the neighbors had seen this blue Oldsmobile outside the house acting suspiciously, and tracked it down. Turns out it was a government car.
Okay, interesting.
Where's your head going now?
Still don't think it's Colin Thatcher. It just doesn't add up. I think it's his son. I think it's the 15-year-old or 18-year-old. It's 15, is that?
18 now.
18. Yeah.
With a beard.
Yeah, you can have
an olive skin.
Oh, maybe not. I don't know. What I don't know.
I don't know.
You haven't described what Colin's skin was like or their family or anything like that. So,
and that's the end of this episode.
Oh, come on. Okay. So
it's called a cliffhanger, Jesse. You write scripts. Should know this.
Shut up. Thank you for listening and sticking us in your ear holes. Dear listener, if we are new to you, yeah, go check out our other shit.
We do things.
We do things.
We do things and also sometimes stuff.
It's
yeah. So support us on Patreon and like all the other stuff we do. You can find everything we do. One simple call to action: CanadianPoliticsIsBoring.com. All the social media.
If you can't get enough of this shit, then we've got all kinds of
other
extra
shit,
additional episodes on Patreon.
Yeah, it's not just diarrhea like this. There's small rabbit poop. There's large dog turds.
Jesus Christ!
It's also just good old farts. It's all there.
Yeah, we like to record our farts and put it on Patreon for our patrons to listen to.
My friend records his farts and sends them to me all the time.
Well, now I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh my God. It's so great.
It's wonderful.
Jesus. That's lovely. Oh my God.
It's very highbrow.
Yeah. So tune in next time for the conclusion of Who the Fuck Killed JoAnn. I think it would be the title.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happened to Colin?
And what happened to Colin?
Bye.
Dun, dun, dun.
So insensitive.